live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Science and Magic channel. My name's Amanda Levesque, and this is my friend and colleague, Jamila. I'm so excited to have her here this morning for me. I'm in the US. I know Jamila's in the UK, and I want to say welcome in. So my specialty is in working with high achievers, high performers, those who are interested in finding a way to downregulate their nervous system and to live a life of more ease. And this conversation today is going to be about moving through the path of least resistance. It's designed for Human Design Projectors, which I'll briefly describe in just a moment. But you will also benefit from this conversation if you are someone who desires a softer, less stressful life. If you want to tap into feminine energy, you'll be able to pull different nuggets from what we share. So before we dive into that, I want to let Jamila introduce herself as well. Some of you have seen her already on my channel. We love collaborating. So this is, I think, our third conversation we've had. So go ahead and say hi, Jamila. Anything that you want listeners to know about you?
Hey everyone, so I'm Jamila and I am an expansion coach, and I'm helping women really live the most authentic, vibrant, expanded life in allowing more money, more ease, more pleasure, more clients, more of whatever they desire into their life and in their business.
I love that, expansion coach. And both Jamila and I are human design projectors ourselves, and we have related on this level as friends and have had plenty of conversations on the phone about how to live an expanded, deep, beautiful, easeful life. And so these ideas will be exchanging. We want this to be an open dialogue. You're welcome to share your thoughts in the chat, to ask questions as we go. And we really like to interact with all of you. So if there's projectors who are tuning in right now, definitely say hi and let us know where you're tuning in from. Human design is a framework of looking at the energy system in the body, and it's just one specific framework. And the energy strategy for human design projectors, I won't get too much into this, is to wait for an invitation and specifically to not effort or work more than 3 hours in a day. And if this is the first time you're hearing that, you're probably like, what the heck? Only 3 hours a day? Many of us are programmed to think that productivity comes from 8 hours of efforting a day. And whether or not you're a human design projector or you just want to slow your life down, this idea of moving through the path of least resistance can be really counterculture in a lot of ways, because we think move through effort, push, challenge, and life has plenty of challenges. But I think a lot of attention gets spent on those challenges. And so today we want to talk about this concept of ease. Like, yes, not just to understand it with the mind, but to embody it. So I want to start, when we were kind of talking about how to collab, Jamila, you had this idea. You're like, I want to talk about ease. I want to talk about flow. And I'm curious why. Why did you want to talk about the concept of ease? What have you seen in your life and in your clients that has made this concept relevant for you?
Yeah, these are like two of my most favorite topics to talk about. And the reason I love talking about it is like it's seen like in society as this ethereal, out there sort of thing, like what is ease, what is flow, or I can only get to that level once I've built this massive foundation of hustle, hard work, or grinding your teeth to the bone, and then you deserve to have ease, and then you deserve to have flow. And I literally want to flip it around. Like, I want it to be like, you can choose the path of least resistance now. You can choose a life that's filled with luxurious ease and being in a paradigm where you're not looking for problems to solve. You're like always in the paradigm of ease. Like, how easy can I let things get? How easy can I allow money to flow into my life? How easy can I allow clients to find me? How easy can I allow myself to fulfill the things on my to-do list? How easy can I let my beauty routine be? Or whatever it is that you want to really invite more ease into your life in.
I love that you're addressing ease from a paradigm shift, which is embodiment thought first, and then that pours into external reality. And we're going to talk about this today because many people, many human design projectors are stuck in a lifestyle structure that is not ideal to their energy. And so they think that they have to effort to switch their structure to change the ease. But really, if we can think of ways to evoke ease now, then that structure automatically changes. It's inside out. Welcome. We have several projectors who are tuning in. Thank you for saying hi. We have from Louisiana, from Sweden, Austin, Texas. Oh, another splenic projector. I'm a splenic projector. Thank you for saying hi, everybody. So I looked up the definition of ease because I love words, and I know that I use words. I mean, we all use words all the time, but I love writing. And so I often look at definitions to say, this is how I see the concept of the word. Am I using it in a way that's, common language with the dictionary? And so ease, there's two definitions. One, the condition of being comfortable or relieved. And two, freedom from pain, worry, or agitation. So I want to start, and if you're tuned in, you can share in the chat, brainstorm some activities or places or imagery that evokes the state of comfort, relief, and ease. And maybe Jamila, you and I can start to share, like, what brings ease from the outside first, and then we'll talk about how to bring that paradigm shift. But what are some activities, things, places that make you feel most at ease? And then I'll share mine too.
So there's something that's coming up for me that I shared in an email today to my email list about the power of pleasure. And this isn't just like surface level pleasure. This is like pleasure that you can like dive even deeper into at a cellular level in your body. And the reason I was inspired to write this post was I was feeling really tired before a client session. I had like an hour left before a client session, and I was feeling super drained, super tired. And I was like, should I nap or should I just do something different? And the moment I allowed myself to just feel into pleasure, do an activity that fills me up with pleasure, I suddenly had the energy back. I was awake, like I was alert. I was able to deliver that client session amazingly well. And that really made me want to write about the power of pleasure, which a lot of women kind of put onto the shelf, and they just feel like this is a luxury, or this is like something I can do at the end of my day after I've completed everything I want to do. And this is why I feel like if you add ease, if you add pleasure into your life first, the rest of the things that you want to do start becoming easy. So one of the things I think people can allow ease into their lives is bringing pleasure in whatever element you can. So think about something that you enjoy anyway. So let's say it's like a hot coffee. How can you enjoy it at 10 times, 100 times level more? And from that vibration, from that place of enjoyment, be able to tap into ease, be able to tap into the next thing that you want to get done in an easier, softer, fluid way.
Our last conversation was about pleasure and money, if I remember right. Pleasure, thinking about pleasure is evoking the senses, and it's a body-based practice. So what can you taste? What can you feel in your skin? What can you smell that brings you that delight, that joy? And what that does on a nervous system level is it softens you into the moment, which brings you out of a mental state of fight or flight. It lets you know you're safe. And I'm of the belief, and this is a very feminine way of being in the world, to live through the body, but I feel, and not to say there aren't challenges in the body and pain in the body, but these bodies are here to be in and to experience. And why not seek out things that bring that delight, that joy? I know for me, I find a lot of pleasure in waking up early in the morning, and I have an electric fireplace that's behind me, but I like to light that. And I have a really snuggly, delicious blanket, and I'll snuggle up on that blanket and I'll journal with a candle in the fireplace. And that evokes, it's like quiet, so my ears don't have a lot of stimulation. I feel connected to spirit. I have the beauty of the fire, the candle. And so that just evokes me into a state of pleasure right away. Someone said being in nature. Yes, nature is huge for pleasure. We are nature. Our bodies are we are nature. Playing basketball, my bliss. I love that. Yeah. So finding something to get your body moving, to get it flowing, to feel that exercise, that energy flowing through. We have resting around family. Oh, yes. Resting around family can be so nourishing and so grounding. And reading can be great, of just like, okay, I have this still moment. It's actually, reading feels really precious in our common day society where there's so much technology, to just snuggle up with a book. So start, as you're tuning in, whether the live or the replay, think about this. What brings you pleasure? As in, that switches you into the paradigm of ease, and start by prioritizing that, even if it's just a little bit during your day. Do you have some other things that bring you that delight and that ease, Jamila?
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to say as well that as soon as you tune into pleasure in your body, you're switching on that rest and digest mode.
Yes.
And when things slow down, and like we already know this, like we can't think straight when we're, hustling, bustling, when we're trying to get 5 things done at once. But when you are fully slowed down, the answers start showing up. Everything seems so clear. And so things become easier, the solutions become easier. What you need to do next becomes easier. And the other things I love to do to just bring pleasure is just lighting some candles and sitting in stillness. I just love that feeling of sitting in stillness. And some of you might have heard of this before, like a lot of teachers talk about this, but finding the little gaps of quiet, even in the quiet, even in the stillness. So it's like the pause in the pauses of stillness. And I just love that. Like the more you look for it, the more you kind of go deeper into it. I feel like this whole expansion inside my body when I do that.
Yes. And someone said sun soaking. And I think that brings to mind for me is that, yes, like going out and sunbathing, but even amidst the busy days, because many people they're in that go mode, and the structure of their life for now, before, they can start to make these changes, is from A to B to C to D. So they might feel like, I don't have all this time to sit in stillness. I don't have the morning to be by the fireplace and light a candle. Well, on your way from your building to your car, you can literally feel the sun on your cheekbones. You can feel the sun on your arms, and you can soak in that sunshine. You can take a deep breath in when you step outside, the fresh air, and then walk to your car. So there's these little moments of pauses that can orient you towards ease and pleasure without needing to make it a huge ordeal that takes up a lot of linear time and space. Yeah, pictures of clouds. Great. So pictures of clouds, you can put pictures of clouds around your room or on the backdrop of your computer, because you know that brings you that amount of pleasure. So it takes this decision to orient towards these moments of delight through the senses. So that this would be step one, I would say. If you want to move through the path of least resistance in your life, have more ease, start by just taking some time and brainstorming what brings you pleasure through the 5 senses. So start with sight, sound, taste, and then orient yourself, make an intention to orient yourself towards those things at least a little bit every day. Doesn't have to be a lot. So the opposite of ease is to hinder, to complicate. It's a state of resisting. And this video is titled Move Through the Path of Least Resistance. And so I looked up the definition of resistance: to take action in opposition to eliminate, reduce, or stop. So it is, rather than flowing down the river, relaxing into the water, it's swimming upstream. What are some ways that you found, Jamila, that you complicate your life? I can, brainstorm ways for my life. Like, how do we make things hard for ourselves? And I'm curious in the chat, how do you make your life hard? Where do you complicate it unnecessarily? Like, what feels sticky right now?
I think the biggest breakthrough for me came when I just came to a realization that what if things don't have to be difficult? What if this is just an idea that we've bought into through programming and through society, that things have to be moved through to get to the other side, that we have to go through this arduous resisting kind of process to get to the other side. And the moment I like allowed my body to receive this paradigm that what if there is no difficult, like what if that doesn't exist? I found that going through crunchy moments, going through difficult, what would be difficult moments, started to become easier because surrendering, letting go felt so much easier. And solutions just started to pop up. Even if you don't get the whole big picture solution wrapped in a bow and like, you know, beautiful gift wrapping, you get the tiny breadcrumbs that will tell you the next thing that you need to get to the next thing that you need to get to. And honestly, that feels like when I first started incorporating that in every area of my life, it literally felt like a weight off my shoulders. It's like I didn't have to say this story to myself of, oh, my business is difficult, or this is attracting clients is difficult, or having a deliciously healthy body is difficult. It was just, okay, what's the next step I can do to bring more ease into this? What's the next step I can do? How can I allow this to be easier? If it was easy, what would it look like?
This is such a common belief system and narrative of, I deserve something because I worked hard for it. And those that, you know, having a struggle story to back up or validate where you are in life. And it almost has you seek a struggle story to get where you're at versus just letting life move you in a way of ease. I felt that in my life for sure. Like, I think there's merit in sharing challenges because it helps to build connection with others who also go through that challenge and resonance and like, oh, I can do that too, despite this. And there's beauty in that. And that's how we grow our nervous system, is by, you know, pushing through challenge for sure. But in some ways in our society, we've tipped that to be the only way. And so this paradigm shift of like, what if I can just accept goodness? What if this is more simple than I ever thought? What if it doesn't need to take hours of planning? What if the answer can just drop into my consciousness? Like, to just ponder that is a really interesting thing, and then seeing what comes up for you.
Yeah. And for a lot of people, their nervous systems will get activated thinking like that, because it's like, how can I let go of this big boulder I've been carrying for my whole life? And your muscles are like contracted all this time, and you're suddenly letting go. And it's like this whole process of learning to let go and learning to let things really be easy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what does that even feel like? We're going to talk about that from a body point. Someone shared impatience, stopping myself from processing an emotion. Interesting. Holding off for later, and running away from my destiny. How many people tuned in here feel like you run away from your destiny, that you know something is for you, but you put it off, you put it off, you put it off? Why? I think this is a really interesting thing. Are we scared of our greatness? Are we scared of feeling good? Are we scared what will happen when we release the tension in our body? Are we safe to do that? Is it safe to feel good? Thank you for sharing all that. All those things will make it harder. The impatience, stopping myself from processing an emotion. I think what I'm hearing here is safety. Like, is it safe to practice to feel an emotion? And so tuning into things that help you to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to feel nourished and supported is really powerful. Trying to prove worth, value, trying to prove, that's an effort to me, trying to prove worth, value to people that haven't seen me yet or are not meant to see me. So having some efforting around who you want to see you versus just letting the people see you. That definitely will complicate things. If you're like, I need to prove myself to this person or convince myself of something to this person, especially as projectors, because we have this penetrating aura. There's no need to convince, no need to prove. The people who resonate with us will resonate with us, period. Okay. Anything you want to say to any of that, Jamila?
Yeah, I feel like some of those things thank you everyone for sharing. And some of those things about like stopping yourself from processing an emotion, it's funny like how our brain will stop ourselves from processing an emotion, thinking it's easier to not process emotion, but through that we're actually creating resistance, and we're like making
Mhm.
it more difficult. Whereas really, if you really just allowed yourself to just feel into that emotion, you could let go of it. It could be so easy for you to let go of it and move on to the next part of your day. I think that's actually a great example of one of the biggest shifts I've seen in my life, where if I had really like difficult emotions come up, say I was really angry one morning, I would let that anger consume me the whole day, and I would use it as an excuse to not do certain things. I'm not going to work out today because this person made me really angry, and that means I won't be able to work out and I won't have enough energy. And no, I'm just going to sit in this anger and I won't do the other things I really enjoy doing. And the moment I actually allowed myself, no, I'm going to let things be easy. So if I'm feeling some resistance, some difficult feelings in feeling the anger and letting go of it, and I really processed it, I used movement, or I used breath work or meditation or journaling to release it. It's like I was a new person again, and I've got my
Mm.
time back and I've got my energy back. And because I have my time and my energy back, I can flow and I can allow that essence of ease to come back into my day.
Yeah. Yeah, the resistance. So it's not like moving through the path of least resistance doesn't mean only searching for that which feels easy every time, right? Because we are humans. There's 4 seasons in life. There's winter and there's summer. There's dark, there's light, there's contrast. And so in these moments when there's an emotion that doesn't feel good, rather than resist it and push it away, and then those feelings want to be heard and they get bigger and bigger and bigger and they consume energy, you lay back in the river, feel it, flow with it, let it be there, invite it in as a part of the human experience, don't resist it, and then it's able to move through. This is through the path of least resistance. It's not like, oh, something's wrong because I'm feeling anger. It's interesting. What does anger feel like in my body? My heart rate increases, my jaw clenches, I have a lot of energy in my system. I'm going to lean into this, feel it fully, and then let it move. And then it doesn't consume your energy because it's not grabbing your attention. Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful example. While we're on the topic of resistance, what I'm curious about as I was thinking about this conversation of, is there ever a time when it's optimal to not actually encourage like this act of resistance? So to oppose something. So let's say you're stuck in a rut and the path of most ease feels like, keep watching TV or keep scrolling on social media, and you're stuck in a habit that's not healthy. But ease feels like, oh, well, I'm just going to keep scrolling because this is where I'm stuck. Or like maybe you have a negative habit of your health of like drinking soda instead of water. You're like, well, the path of most ease for me feels like grabbing this Coca-Cola right now instead of this glass of water, which would cleanse my system. Like, how does ease play a role in these scenarios?
Mm.
Is what I'm kind of curious about. Because sometimes ease can feel like, how do you distinguish it between something that's good for you or having ease through habits that are not so healthy?
Yeah, I think I think the biggest thing in that is like really your intuition and discernment helping you. So
Mhm.
there could be times where actually the path of ease for you is to release the attention that you have on the problem, let go of the energy and the focus that you're putting on it, and actually just watch something and relax for a bit.
Mhm.
And you taking your consciousness away from the problem and putting it onto something else is going to be the path of ease where solutions can come to you. But if that's turning into something that you see yourself through discernment, is you sabotaging yourself. So instead of creating content on your business or attracting the clients or giving value to your people, you find yourself spending more hours watching TV. That could be a sneaky sabotage way of saying, I don't really want to be seen for my gift to my business. I don't really want to put myself out there, or there's some fear in making money in your business, or imposter syndrome coming up. So that could be something that you want to look at, where this is my resistance actually, and my my symptom is actually just going onto Netflix. And the way that I can start moving through that is actually going deeper into what's the root cause, like what's the real thing that I'm scared of in my business that's making me want to do that. Or even the health thing that you're talking about. What does it mean? And I feel like for people, a lot, the fear is really around, can I really have the sexy body that I really want? Can I have the health? Like, is it really possible for me? And because of that deep rooted belief, and our subconscious kind of is running the show all the time. So if we have that subconscious belief that I can't really have that, that's not the self image in our subconscious mind, it's going to resort to the sugary drinks or the food that isn't healthy.
Yeah, it's shifting your identity first. And I also am hearing like body connection is really important for situations like this. Like if you build a practice where you're connecting to your body and your mind through pleasure, through mindfulness, as you're drinking the Coca-Cola, what you'll start to feel is, oh, actually, I'm getting a sugar rush in my head right now. I feel jittery. Like actually, if I'm really feeling this feels like ease, but now it doesn't feel good anymore because I have this connection to my body. Same with intuition. If you keep scrolling on social media, you know, there's a part of you that's like, okay, well, this is the easiest thing to do right now. But if you are tapped into your heart, you start to feel flat or you start to feel sluggish. And you're like, actually, this is easy, but so you start to, that presence, that awareness, that body connection, this is where comes in for discerning what's easeful in terms of like spirit and what feels easeful in terms of that like habits that aren't pulling you towards your most aligned self. Does that make sense? I'm trying to
Yeah. And also looking at yourself. So say, for example, you've had a business for like 2-3 years. So you're kind of established, but writing content or going live or giving value to your ideal clients is still difficult for you. And you're struggling to just put one piece of content a day online and choosing to just watch things every day. Even if you say it's educational training I'm watching, that is really a root. There's something deeper going on there.
Yeah.
Where why are you hiding? Like what's the resistance that's coming up for you when you've really been doing this for a long time, but you're finding that thing really difficult? Whereas let's say you're a brand new business, you've never written a piece of content in your life that's related to your customers, and you wrote one piece of content and you celebrate that you've done it. I've finally done it. This was such a huge thing for me. I've never put myself out there on video before and I've done it today. And then you choose to, reward yourself with Netflix or whatever it is. There's such a different kind of energy in there to the person who's kind of using it as a hiding, coping mechanism.
Yeah, 100%. I've realized that I am in ease in many areas of my life, but whenever it comes to businesses, I made it something difficult. Yeah, and that's kind of what we're addressing right now, like inner work first, so that those decisions can be through the path of least resistance. So it's coming into what is the deeper root of why this feels hard right now. I don't feel comfortable for doing a video like this for manifestors. I'm actually not a trained human design specialist. I just know what it's like to live as an embodied projector, but I'm sure there's so much amazing information out there for human design manifestors too. That's what James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits, making your habits easy by inner work, by moving inside first, shifting identity, and feel better, I love that, than your bad habits. So lean towards that pleasure, lean towards delight, and reach towards that feeling. So when you're in your bad habits, you know you don't feel good and you naturally start to switch out of them. Beautiful. Okay. So as I want to address the large, population of projectors who are stuck in careers or lifestyles that drain their energy. I think this is so common and just people in general, but there's so many human design projectors who learn about this. They're like, oh my gosh, I am stuck in this rhythm of life that actually is productive to my energy. And they're always in striving mode. What advice would you give them? I've thought of this before, like how can they evoke more ease in their lives when every day they spent hours and hours doing things, having to complete tasks for their job to make money that they don't want to do, and then their energy is drained and they feel like they don't know how to switch. They don't know how to make that move without it being really drastic. Like, I'm just going to quit my job. But often if they just quit their job, they don't have that inner work buffer where they feel safe and they can hold that vibration to attract something new. So what would be a shift that someone in this situation, a human design projector, even someone who's not a projector, who's just like, I just need to make a shift in life to feel more ease, but I don't want to just drop my job. Like, what could they do?
Yeah, I think the first thing is really looking for how can you make your current job as easy as possible? Like, where can you bring ease into it? Where can you bring elements of pleasure into it? Where can you bring elements of enjoyment into it? And that might mean something as simple as taking a 5-minute break every hour just to stretch. And get your blood moving, get the energy flowing in you. It could be as simple as, rather than having lunch at work, just having lunch in the sunshine outside. And while you're doing this, like while you're trying to bring in ease into your current workplace, allowing yourself to expand into, if God has designed you in this way where you are meant, your energy system and structure is only meant to work for certain hours a day, that means that your source of income or your next job exists where you only need to work certain hours a day. And the more you tap into that belief, okay, that the next perfect job opportunity is already available to me, it's like you open the door to, there's something in this room now. And all I need to do now is, no matter how big the room seems or how scary or dark it seems, I need to just keep walking in this room until I find the thing that resonates with me. And when it does, when the next job thing that resonates with you comes, and you kind of feel something in your body, you feel that tingle in your heart, or you feel that soul nudging you more towards it, even despite the fear, like even though you have the fear that how can I let go of a steady 9 to 5, you start taking teeny bits of action towards it. And you soon find that tiny action that you started to take towards it starts compounding into something bigger, and it's starting to make you money. And the moment that happens, that's when you could start to ask yourself, okay, am I ready now to actually leave my 9 to 5 and start living this other life that I've created for myself, where I'm working how many hours I want to work, I'm making the money I want to make, and I'm really enjoying it.
It's leaning into the vision and the embodiment before the external circumstances are there. And I'm curious, if you're tuned in, is anyone in this situation where they realize that their energy is being drained from their work and they just don't know how to get out of it? Let us know in the chat. But I think, step one is saying, this is where I'm at right now. And it's not waking up in the morning and saying like, oh, I have to go to work. I mean, easier said than done, right? But just starting in that state of resistance will make it really hard to embody a state of ease, a state of pleasure, a state of calm through work. And it's really difficult to attract that dream external circumstance life, that dream career, when you're in that state of resistance. Like it's an inside out process. So you wake up and you're like, you know what, this is the result of all the way that I've thought and I've been thinking and I've been acting up until now, and this is temporary. And I'm going to choose to find moments of delight and ease throughout my day and calm in my body, despite my external circumstances, and know that this practiced way of being and this practiced way of thinking will unravel some other external circumstances in a way that I can't even conceive yet. So that's step one, just trusting in that this is temporary. You're not stuck. It's definitely not feeling stuck, because if you feel stuck, you'll be stuck. And it's cultivating that faith that you've awakened to a different possibility, and then practicing embodiments of delight. So I love that. Taking breaks and stretching throughout the day. Stretching feels so good, like literally reaching your arms up, pulling your arms from side to side, stretching out your rib cage, rolling out your neck, having your lunch outside in the sun, cultivating, relationships at work that feel nourishing, moving slowly, All of these things can really help to embody ease and to embody that calm. And then you'll start to shift your paradigm, which is what Jamila is talking about, towards ease, and your external circumstances will unravel naturally. You'll start to get an idea of what to do next. You'll have someone reach out to you who has, inviting you to do X, Y, and Z that will help you, whatever. But you'll start to get these nudges, but you have to shift your embodiment first. Someone says, yes, I'm a server. I've been there. And I have a schedule that helps with serving my energy, but I know there's better minding for me. There's something better for me. Oh my gosh, I can speak to this. I don't know, Jamila, if you've ever served, but I was a waitress in the, first part of my 20s, and great. It's a lifestyle. Like, I moved from my full-time job to serving because of that, because it was working less hours and I had a freedom of picking up shifts and dropping shifts as I wanted. So I could travel, I could, dive into my entrepreneur skills, all that stuff. But serving takes so much energy. It takes so much attention to details, intuition. This person needs ketchup. This person needs Coke. I can feel this person's eyes on me. So what I would suggest is moving as slow as you can. I know it's hard in the serving world, and forming connection with your table. So feeling in your heart and having this degree of magnetism. If you think of how many people come through and sit at the tables you're serving, what kind of conversation could you strike up if you're in a certain energy resonance, if you slow down, if you connected to spirit? Being open to this possibility, and then making sure you're taking care of your energy. So doing restorative things outside of work, cooking really delicious food, drink a lot of water, make sure that you sleep, let yourself sleep in. And if you start to shift that, with your free time, you might start to think of other things that could get you out of that, career choice. Yeah, we have a lot of comments here. Have you ever been in a job, Jamila, where you feel like you're stuck or a position?
I wasn't a server, but some of the things you mentioned around oh, this person needs this person needs this. I was a teacher, and that really resonated, where it was like, this child needs this right now, that child needs that right now, and there's this child, and at the same time your awareness is on all the kids in the room and everything that they need, plus the next thing that you need to do. And yeah, I completely get that. And the other thing I wanted to mention to the person that was asking that question is, when you were talking, Amanda, about all the people that are sitting on that table, even just opening up to the energy of what if your next business opportunity is in the room right now? What if the person is there that can support you on the next path of your journey, or they have the business that you would dream of having, and you're able to strike a conversation with them and they're able to support you in some way? Literally opening up to ease just in the room, or the possibility that exists in the room.
Yeah. And I just keep feeling called to tell this story for me, because these little nudges that you're going to start to get once you shift to a paradigm of ease, they're not always going to make logical sense. And so my example for this is, this was 2 years ago. I was cooking, I believe, and I was like, oh, I want to listen to something. And I was on this kick of studying Human Design Projectors. And I was like, well, I could pull up a neuroscience lecture and learn about the body while I'm cooking and be productive. But what felt more resonance and what made me feel more alive was to pull up Human Design Projectors. Who came up in my search engine? Mina Irfan, the universe guru. Listened to her, resonated, got into her videos about energy and business, signed up for the CEO Boss Queen. This is why I met you. This is the whole reason we're having this conversation right now. And this is the whole reason I started my YouTube channel. That one decision in that moment, that wasn't logical, that wasn't linear, where I should have been studying science, but I did something so unrelated to my business, unfolded into me launching a YouTube channel, having this conversation with you and with everyone who's tuning in right now. So I was in a paradigm of ease in that moment, and that we don't know the path. We just have to reach for it, what sparks that intuition, that yumminess in the moment.
And it's like the path unfolding for you happens only when your energy is at a place of ease,
Yes.
because you won't see it otherwise. When our nervous systems are like so tightened up and in fight or flight, God is putting the breadcrumbs in front of you. The path is
Yes.
unfolding for you,
Yes.
but you don't see it. It's like we're literally blinded from it. The person on that table could have been the person who would have loved to learn from you something that you're so good at, but
Yes.
you couldn't see it. They
Yes.
literally could have had a conversation with the person that they're sitting with, saying, I wish that this person would come in my life right now who could teach me about XYZ. And you were the expert on XYZ. Like it was a
Yeah.
hobby of yours, or it was something that you've done in a previous job that you were so good at. But your ears would literally have, blocked that out because
Yes.
you were not in that place of receiving. So when
Yes.
you're in that energy of ease and your energy of receiving, you will start receiving from everywhere. Like things will just start showing up, and you'll be like pinching yourself thinking, this is just way too much synchronicity. How can this happen? Like this is just too much. But that's when you know that your next path is coming up for you. Like everything's being laid out for you.
Yeah. And it doesn't always make logical sense, but you have to follow the feeling. So if you feel like you're stuck in your situation, follow the feeling, the little things that spark that delight, that pleasure, that joy. Yes, I really needed to hear this. I have recently started realizing through the inner work deconditioning I've been doing that God wants to give me all I need, exactly how I need it, 100%. That belief is huge. That God, that the universe, spirit wants you to have it, this bigger picture, surrendering into it. The path is revealing itself to me naturally, and I can see my way out of 9 to 5 without a lot of fear. It felt super scary 1 year ago. Good for you. Yes, you can see the way out of your 9 to 5 without fear. I feel like a path is about to unfold for you. I don't know what you feel for the energy of that sharing, Jamila.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Christelle Robinson, like it's almost like you were saying that you started to the inner work to decondition from everything you've learned before and trusted and trusted and trusted that if God has created me, he's created me in a way where I can work with my energy and I can have all my desires, first of all. And the thing that I went to do on this planet will reveal itself. And the more you deeply trust into it, the more the answers have to come. Like there's no possible way that the answers cannot come. And I think she mentioned, I think it was her, she mentioned later on in the chat that her first client completely came out of nowhere by having a heart to heart with a dog walker.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She goes on a walk with the dog.
Yeah, she goes on a walk with the dog. Maybe, I don't know what you were doing out, but like, let's say like, oh, it feels good to go to walk my dog right now. I should, sit down and do my business plan, but my heart wants to go on a walk with the dog. Okay, well then she's open energetically and, easeful and just flowing, and then has a conversation and bam, there's her client. So we need to think beyond this. Like, I know the path. I know how to get to where I want to go, because the truth is the best things that have happened to me come out of nowhere. It feels like when I'm just following this feeling of delight and ease and, lack of resistance.
Yeah. And I want to add to that as well. It's not following delight and ease in what other people think, but what feels really, really good to you. Like when Amanda was saying like she wanted to really cook herself a delicious meal, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I really don't enjoy that. Like I do not enjoy cooking sometimes. So it's like, what? But what feels really nourishing and good for you? Like what feels like, oh my God, just feels like the next really, really good thing for me to do. And that's something that I live by every day. I stop myself doing what I think I should be doing or what people say I should be doing for my business. And I ask myself, what feels really good for me to do right now? Is it to listen to another podcast? Is it to listen to something else? Is it to just lie down, have a nap? Is it to do a meditation? What is it to just clean the house? Like even some tiny things that we might think, oh, that doesn't feel good, might feel really good in that moment to just declutter the space and the energy. And going with what's in alignment for you, what feels really good for you.
Yeah. And it's such a different way of operating in the world, especially, high achievers into this channel who are used to setting a goal and pushing through challenge to reach that goal, that pushing through, that striving to make things happen. Like I said, it has merit in its own circumstance. But what about the opposite? What about a different way of being where you could flow more, collapse time, and quantum leap? And the other question around this is, what if your path of most aligned living, of delicious living, was inevitable? Does it really matter what decision you're making? Why not make the one that feels the best? Like, what if you knew it was going to happen? Which decision would you make? Go for that. It's the embodiment of it first. So
I love that. I love what you just said there. The path. What if you knew that your path of most alignment was inevitable?
yeah.
I love that.
Yes. So a lot of this conversation is about the path of ease not being something dependent on our external circumstances, but rather it's that inside out paradigm shift and embodiment through the senses and through nervous system calming. So hopefully this helps, if you're tuning in, you to feel more empowered rather than disempowered by your circumstance. Like, I have the power to shift this starting now in this moment, and my external circumstances will shift accordingly. So that's my framework for all of my work, is inside out, body first. And I think let's just brainstorm, like, what does ease feel like in your body? So type it in the chat. What does it feel like? Just tune in when your body's at ease. So how can we find these things right now, even as we're having this conversation? So maybe Jamila, you can share first what ease feels like in your body.
So I feel like ease feels like a watery sensation, like this flowing. And there's also like this lightweight, feathery
Yeah.
feeling of like weightlessness.
I love that. Like water flowing through the body. That feels like a refreshing wash of energy. Lightweight, feathery. I feel a softening and a yielding when I think of ease. I feel like this, like, okay, I'm resting down and I'm like setting my energy back. I don't have to penetrate forward. I don't have to like shift forward, narrow my focus. I feel my jaw relax. It's like every cell of my skin is widening. It's like, it's widening and this exhaling. We have deep release in my lower back. Beautiful. The adrenal glands actually live in your kind of mid lower back area. So you can think of releasing that area, and the adrenal glands are responsible for emitting the stress hormones. So that's beautiful. Expanding heart. Yes, the heart expanding, the heart connecting. There's lots of research that connecting into the heart can create more composure amid stressful situations. Lower resting heartbeat. Yes, heart rate lowers. It doesn't have to work so hard to pump blood throughout the body because there's no threat around. Like, it can just beat, it can just exist. These are lovely. So these sensations, this light feathery, this water washing through the body, low heart rate, soft muscles, soft tones, find ways to let your whole body reach for these sensations throughout the day. Doesn't matter where you're at. You could be in front of the computer cramming for a deadline. Take a moment, pause, feel your seat, feel a wave of energy rush through your body, deepen your breath, reach for ease, then continue. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Find it first. And, as we kind of come close to the end of the hour here, I am curious if any of you have questions for Jamila or I. So feel free to just start typing questions in the chat that you have for us. I'm so glad this info is amazing, Vision, even though you're a manifestor. Exactly. I mean, this is applicable, I think, to society in general. I wanted to share, I have the book, The Tao Te Ching, and there's a passage here that was really relevant to what we are talking about. So it's passage 63, act without doing. So you act, so you still are doing something. Act without doing, without the embodiment of doing. Work without effort. You're working, but you're not efforting. Think of the small as large and the few as many. Confront the difficult while it is still easy, and accomplish the great tasks by a series of small acts. So letting those small acts, those small moments, help you to accomplish something really great. It's how we're showing up moment to moment. Yeah, I think that was what I wanted to share. It was really good. It's a grounding, stillness, slower movement, and thought. Yes. I love your handle too, live the life you desire. So I hope that you're all feeling this sense of more ease in your body now, and can kind of feel into, if you feel stuck in life in a structure that's draining your energy, which I know is so common for human design projectors specifically, like this feeling of defeat, like, what the heck am I supposed to do now with this information? I have a whole life where I'm busy, 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 busy. I'm clearly drained. The more I tap into my body, the more drained I feel. Shift it. You can shift it moment to moment. You can make that decision to move towards ease by, instilling pleasurable activities into your life and also noticing the ones that are already there. Do you have any last kind of thoughts or questions, Jamila, or anything you want to share? Maybe any affirmations people can use?
I think the thing that's coming up for me right now is for everyone, like no matter what time it is, where your time zone is, just tap into, what if I allowed my day to be easier today? What would it look like? If my day was a little bit easier, what would it look like? And let the answers come to you. Like inherently deep inside what would make your day easier. And it would be unique to every single one of us. So if I allowed my day to be easy today, what would it look like? What could I allow in? What could I let go of? And really go with that. And if anyone wants to dive deeper in this, I have an Essence of Ease masterclass that I just remembered I ran a few months ago. So if you're wanting that, just send me an email and I'll send you the link for that. It is a paid masterclass, but it's got some deep strategies in there to really allow that whole essence of ease into your life and into your business.
I love that. You can also add it in the comments after the video, so I'll pin it on the top. So definitely go and follow Jamila, everybody. Follow her YouTube channel. She shares a lot of really amazing things. And her information's in the description, but she can also comment, so it's really easy to find. You can just scroll down. No particular questions, but I literally feel a physical expansion in my body and my heart after this hour with you. Thank you both. I'm so glad. You are very welcome. I do too. I feel really good after this. This is really yummy. Ease in my body feels warm, like the sun hitting my face, like a fresh, deep breath, like relaxation. Let's have more of that. We do have one question here, which we can end on. What are your best practices for managing energy while in a 9-to-5? Thanks so much. So what would you say the best practices for we talked about this a little bit kind of throughout the day, like taking the break, stretching. Do you have anything else to add?
I would say, again, just adding pleasure anywhere you can. Like if I think back to my 9-to-5 days, I remember I definitely meditated before leaving the house. My commute would be filled with podcasts that I enjoyed, that felt good to me. I remember listening to Abraham Hicks videos as soon as I came out of the building, and having those tiny little pockets of moments where, even if it's just like one yoga pose that you're able to do, that you're able to steal in, if it's just a 10-minute routine in your lunch break, that can just rejuvenate you, refresh you.
Yeah. One thing that just came to my mind. So I like to write a script or like visions or affirmations and record them and then have them as voice memos on my phone. So what I've been doing recently is when I wake up, rather than get out of bed right away, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to like doze a little bit longer. So I'll doze for like 10 minutes, but playing those affirmations or that scripting, because I know as I ebb in and out of sleep, that infuses into my subconscious and sets the tone for my day. And it feels really good because I'm laying in bed for longer, so comfy, so relaxed, so nourished. So that would be something you could do. Like, I mean, if you have to wake up to an alarm because you have a 9 to 5, wake up 10 minutes early, but then put something really nourishing on to listen to, and then give yourself that feeling of like, I have extra time to sleep in, doze, and I'm infusing these affirmations into my mind. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, everybody. I know there's another question, but we're gonna end this because we're about at the hour. It's about practices when you're triggered or frustrated about something. That's a whole video. Maybe I should do that. I have a lot of tips for staying calm when you're triggered or frustrated. I think I have a video about calming yourself if you're like a hothead, which might help with that. It's like very nervous system based. But yeah,
I think I have a whole playlist on my channel around your mind, and just trying to find it. Feelings and emotions.
oh, great.
Mastering your mind. Yeah, here it is. Mastering your mind. I'll
Great.
put that in the live chat right now.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. This was such a beautiful hour. And thank you, Jamila, for coming onto the channel and sharing. If you want support from either of us, this is both the heart of what we do. We love doing it. We love helping people to embody their everyday lives with more ease, to connect to their body, to be with their emotions, and let that inside out processing spur in the most beautiful way in careers, relationships, all those things. So thank you so much. And we will see you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda, for having me on.